Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And Jason and Dion, thank you for having us here. Happy Friday. Just as a quick intro, my name is Shawn Ratnasingam. I oversee a number of provincial products overall. So you might have heard of My Direct Plan, which is around self-managing funds and also supporting brokers and service agencies that are private, not really available to DSO or TPA agencies at this point. And then the other one we're here to talk about today is My Direct Plan. So definitely, Jason, if there's appetite for My Direct Plan overall in terms of self-managing and just that information for staff members to have for their families, we'll be happy to also do that on another call. But for today, My Direct Plan is, or My Community Hub is kind of the focus. Jelka is going to do a quick demo around the user experience from a customer perspective. So users being somebody who is looking to register for programs and services. But there's obviously a component to service providers like yourselves being able to advertise programs and services for people to register. So that's kind of the kind of the all-encompassing in there. Just as a quick history background around My Community Hub, it started in 2015 around the Employment Modernization Fund. Started as a Toronto-focused project overall at that point, just around when fee-for-service started to kick off away from the traditional day supports as things were kind of closing down and resetting itself. And it was very successful in that scenario where agencies outside of Toronto started to approach us around being able to offer fee for service as one space. So families don't have to necessarily go to different websites to figure out what's going on, but really creating a one-stop shop for programs and services. So we've evolved since 2015 to now. When you look at from a geographical map from all the way from Essex to Ottawa is kind of the service provider lens that we support across the stack. There's well over about 500 to 1,000 programs at point in a quarter that show up that people are both able to register in person or virtual. The uniqueness what COVID provided was the opportunity for agencies to also promote online programs. So people who were like I have there was a situation where somebody in North Bay was accessing programs in Essex because it was virtual, right? So that opportunity obviously has evolved and we've evolved with it. So where people are able to register for online programs now too, right? So the idea today is kind of the takeaway that if you are a service provider looking for a place to kind of market your fee for service programs and are not looking to create your own systems, which we would highly discourage because there's costs associated to it. This might be the place for you to start off with. We are focused on journey to belonging and what that means for both families and service providers. So like a lot of what Yelka is going to show you is around that future of individualized supports. We're already there, so we're just enhancing that as we go and we're learning about more about journey to belonging. But it is a place where essentially you, if you're a TPA agency at this point, are able to put up your programs for people to register. And there's a number of administrative things that My Community Hub can do for you seamlessly, where you don't have to necessarily create the paper pen chalkboard kind of scenario that people do where like they're trying to put people in different groups and stuff. Like you can automate a lot of things. So that's kind of the takeaway we're doing here. Uh, Even though we have an hour and a half, I don't think we're going to have to need the full hour. I think it all really comes down to your engagement and your questions. So we hope that you can provide some questions or if you've got any clarity pieces. The next steps to this is that if you are a service provider after this call and you are interested, Yaka will show you where to go and book a demo, and then we can have a really holistic conversation around your service provider needs and how My Community can support you. With that said, Yaka, I'll pass it over to you.
Great, thanks, Shawn. Hi, everyone. Great to be here. Thank you for having us. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. Like Shawn said, I'm going to walk us through My Community Hub. I'm going to walk us through what we call the customer end. So this is what the families will see when they log in, where they can go to sign up and look for programming. And then really quickly, we'll go into what we call the admin side. So this is where the admin or the admins or your organizations can go in and actually set things up. Just so that you can kind of get the feel of what that looks like. So I'll start sharing my screen. All right, great. So this is mycommunityhub.ca. This is sort of our landing page and where you can really go to get started. So on the landing page, you have just an overview of what My Community Hub is all about. You have a couple of little sections and testimonials at the bottom. But the main feature here is, of course, the fact that you can go in and create an account or sign in. So this is for customers, keep in mind. So if I'm a customer or a family member and I want to create an account, this is where I can go to get started. And I can also explore programs and go and see what's available. If I click this button, I will go to a list of everything that's currently available. And then if you come over here, you'll see that we have this little carousel of all of the different providers that are currently offering programs on My Community Hub. If I click on any one of these logos, I'll be taken to a curated list of just what that specific provider is offering. So for example, if I click on here, and it'll just take a minute to load, you should see everything that Community Living Toronto is offering. So any of the provider logos that I click on, I'll see a curated list of their programs. Now you'll notice that I'm not signed in yet. So I can look at details. So I can look at the programs, I can read about what's being offered. But if I was to go in and try and register or do anything further, I would be prompted to sign into an account. So you do have to have an account and be logged in order to actually register. Um, Going back to our landing page here, so we do have the little carousel, and we do offer it as written out as well, just for anybody who prefers to view things that way. And it works the same way. If I clicked on any one of the names, I would go to a curated list for that specific provider. Now I'm going to log in to sort of a demo account or test account. So this is not what's live, just because we don't want to be messing anything up for anyone. But I'll walk us through. It looks exactly the same. I'll walk us through everything that we need to know. So now I'm logged into my account as a customer. So this is my view that I'll see. And you'll see that I'm logged in because I see my name up here. I see my account in my cart. So I'm in my account currently. Same thing as before, you see the curated list. So right now I'm not filtering for anything. So I'm seeing everything that's currently available. These three main filters will always be up here. And if I open the filter section, I'll get all the options that I can filter by. So I can filter by a specific city, a specific location or region, by age, by distance. So if I click this distance button here, so search by distance, it's going to ask me if I want to enable sharing my location. So we don't automatically share location. It's something that you need to enable just for security purposes. And once I do that, I'll have this toggle up here as well, which is the distance. So I can actually go in and say, I want something that's in, let's say, 54-kilometer radius around me, and I'll get that those programs that are available within that filter. One of the great ways to do it as well is the search by keyword. So those are just keywords that as an admin I can enter. So I always like to say to whoever we're training, there's language that you use with customers and with families that we don't know. So there's abbreviations to your programs. There's things that people are going to search by. And you can actually put those keywords into the program when you're creating it so that when customers go in and search those keywords, they'll see the things that they're expecting to see. So they'll see the programs they're expecting to see. So that's our search filters. So again, I can use those to filter for anything that I specifically want to see. I'm going to close that off for now, just so that we can see the list view. So you'll see that I have a few different options on how I can view things. The list view is sort of the default. This is what you'll see every time you log in. And the list view really gives you just who the provider is, so who's offering the program, what is the name of the service, and you'll see that after each service name, there's a number that is the unique ID, and that's what will always identify the program by. Age, I can set any age parameters, so I can put any age parameters within my community hub so that anybody that is outside of those parameters would not be able to sign up. So for example, you'll see that this program is 12 and up. So anybody that is under the age of 12 would not be able to go and sign up. I can put, 12 to 15, I can put 25 to 30, whatever the case may be, but you can set those parameters on the admin end. Then we have our address. So you'll see that some have a physical address. That means that's an in-person program. So we're actually going to that address. And some are listed as online virtual. So as Shawn mentioned, online virtual became a big thing during COVID. So online virtual is available, and there are ways that you can share, let's say, for example, our Zoom link privately to the customers that actually sign up for your programs. So it's not visible to anybody unless they sign up. And then, of course, we have our spaces. So how many spots are available to sign up for? And you'll see that we have the ability to add as many spaces as we want. We have the ability to select unlimited, meaning that there isn't a cutoff. So as long as the program registration is open, as many people can sign up. And then you'll see that some have 0. So as customers sign up, the number will go down. They can't see that it's 10 out of, let's say, 20 people. They just see what's left, so what's available. And the number goes down as customers sign up. And when it gets to 0, we open up what we call a wait list, and we'll get to that in just a second. And then, of course, you have your date and time that it's happening and your cost. You do have the ability to also post free programs if there's ever a need for it. And of course, you have the ability to add the cost as well. Now, on this very end here, you'll see a few different icons. So it does look a little bit different when you're logged in that there's obviously a few more things that you can do. So first and foremost, let's start with the heart. This is what we call our wish list. So I can add myself to a wish list for a program. So let's say I've gone in and I've looked at the details of the program. I really want to sign up, but I might not be ready. I need to check my schedule to make sure that I'm actually available at the times this program is happening. What I can do is click this little heart and select the participant that I want to sign up and add them to the wish list. Now that heart's filled in, that means I'm on the wish list for that program. The other great feature of the wish list is as an admin, you can open programs before the registration opens. So for example, let's say that today I opened a whole bunch of programs, but I don't want the registration to open up until Monday. So my customers can come in today, look at what I have available, add those programs, pardon me, that they want to their wish list. On Monday, when that registration opens, an email is sent out saying the program you added to your wish list is now open for registration. You can log in and register for that program. Now, the greatest part about it is because I've added it to my wish list, I don't have to go and search for that program again. What I can do is go to my wish list here on the side menu, and I should see it in here and go in and register right away. So I don't have to do that whole search over again. That program's already waiting for me, ready to register for. So that is our wish list. Now I mentioned a wait list. So when the number hits 0, so when there's no more spots available, if your program is still open, we can enable a wait list. So the wait list function is optional. You don't have to have it, but it is a great feature we found. And what that means is if I add myself to the wait list, same thing, I'll select the participant that I want to add, and they will be added to my wait list. When a spot becomes available, an email gets triggered, so it gets sent out to everyone that's on the wait list, letting them know that a spot has opened up. So it's on a first come, first serve basis. I can log in and try to take that spot or sign up for that spot, but it gets sent to the entire wait list. So it's a great way to sort of gauge how many people are still wanting to sign up for the program. It's a great way to gauge, should we make this program bigger, if we're able to, anything like that. So it does give some really great insights for you. So that is our list view and sort of everything that we can do in terms of the wait list and the wish list. Now, I didn't really talk about accounts. So to create an account, you do have to be 18 years of age or older. That means that you are the primary account holder. You can have as many participants as you need in one account. So there's no limit to how many participants are able to be in one account. Obviously, if it's an individual who's able to manage their own account and wants to manage their own account, we absolutely encourage that and welcome that. But if it's, let's say, a family that might have 2 children that both would be looking for services, the parent can be the primary account holder, and of course the children can be participants. Now, of course, we have a lot of group living situations. It's also a great function for that. So the staff for that specific home can create an account and be the primary account holder, and anyone within that home who wants to sign up for programming can be a participant. So when I go to register, I select the participant I want to register. That is who's being registered. That is who's being added to the receipt. So it's fully clear that that participant is the person that signed up. From the admin end, you'll see who the primary account holder was, but you'll primarily see who signed up for your program. So it's very clear. So let's walk through what that would actually look like if I was registering. So I'm going to go into the details of this program. So I'm going to click the details button, and I'll be taken to the page that gives me every detail of the program. So you'll see the service information of the start and end dates, and then of course the sessions. So 5 sessions happening every Saturday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. As an admin, you can also customize that a little bit. You can, if you have a program that runs for a really long range of time, instead of listing every single day and time, you can customize a message to say when it's happening. You do also have the ability to take out dates. So for example, Mondays are usually statutory holidays. If it ever happens that, that range when your program is happening happens to have a holiday, we can take that specific date out and it will indicate that the program is not happening on that date. Age will always show up, so the age parameters that you set up will show up, and you can leave it open to anyone. So you can say 1 and up, meaning that there's no age restriction. And then availability is our online registration date. So when are we actually able to register for the program? You also have the ability to add any attachments like flyers or PDFs and any images. You can add up to 5 images, and I can actually scroll through them um, just to kind of make it more fun, or if we have photos that we are able to and have permission to post, just to show kind of how fun the program was the last time. So you do have the ability to add that. And then of course on this end here we have our full description. So what is the program all about? You can add as many details as you'd like. You can also add an optional field called registration notes. This is a great way to sort of put any overarching policies for your program or for your organization. For example, your refund policy, something that everyone should be aware of, that everyone should know, can go in there. And then of course we have the ability to add a contact, so a specific contact for each and every program that we have. It's an optional field. You don't have to put it in. I do say that it is very helpful for us because if we get a question about the program that we might not have an answer to, we know exactly who to turn to try and get that answer for the customer. So it is a lovely thing to add. And then of course, over here we have our cost, what spots are available, ability to add to wish list. I just realized that I can't add this to my cart and do the registration because my registration window has closed today. So we'll have to log in the other way. And then of course we have our map here. So the map of directions, because it is a program happening in person. So I'm just gonna go and choose a different program here real quick. I do apologize for that. Let's see if this one, there we go. So we'll add to cart. So we're ready to register. And this is what I would say is our sort of simplest registration possible, in that you're selecting your participant, you have the cost of the program, and you can go and register. Now, I will find another one that gives us a bit more information, but right here, if I go to select my participant, you'll see that I have 3 participants in my account. So if I go in and select Jim, that's who I want to sign up. I can hit next. I'll see the fee breakdown. Yes, that's exactly right. I'm good with that. And I can go to checkout. Now, if let's say Jane also wanted to sign up for this program as well, Jane is part of my account, I can go and register another participant and go and select Jane, and both Jane and Jim will be registered at the same time. So one receipt will be rendered, but it will be very clear that both of them have registered. So I'll just walk through that. Oh, you'll see I have a little conflict that's popped up. This is just letting me know that I've actually signed up for something that's happening at the same time. So within MyCommunityHub, anything that you sign up for, obviously, you have full transparency and full view of. So it's just letting me know I actually have a conflict. There's something happening at the time that this program is meant to happen as well. So I can choose to continue and go and maybe, rearrange the other program that I have, or I can say, you know what, I really want the other program, so I'm just going to stop the registration here. But for our purpose today, I'm just going to continue, and I'm going to select Julie, for example, and we're good with that, and we'll check out. There we go. And you'll see that I now have my cart. So in my cart, I have Jim that's being registered for this and Julie that's being registered for this as well. You do have the ability to add coupon codes. So if I had a coupon code, I could enter the coupon code here and apply it, and it would give me the discount right away. Otherwise, I can just check out. So I'll proceed to checkout, and I'm going to pay with my credit card and check out. And there we go. So now I've checked out and the process is complete. I have a full kind of breakdown of what I've signed up for, who signed up, all the information that I need. So you'll notice that I had a credit card pre-saved on here. So you do have the ability to pre-save credit cards. Every organization is seen sort of as its own, let's say, store in MyCommunityHub. So when I'm checking out, I'm only checking out by that organization. So when I'm paying, I'm only paying for that organization. So if I save credit cards, I'm saving them per organization. I can save the same credit card for every single organization that I have. Just note that I can't go and, let's say, put something from CLTO and something from, let's say Community Living Barrie, just because we mentioned it before, and check out at the same time. So it just makes sure that our receipt is fully clean. So again, Shawn mentioned that we have My Direct Plan. Of course, that's very involved in Passport and SSAH. So anybody who needs to submit their receipts, it will be very clean and clear as to who the provider was, who signed up, and all of that information. Now, I've signed up for this. If we go back to here, on my left-hand side menu, this is the menu for my account. So as I mentioned, we're fully transparent. Everything that you do on MyCommunityHub will be fully visible to you. Your full history is available to you, including your past receipts and all of your registrations. So you just saw me register for the Where To program. If I go to My Registrations and Receipts, at the very top, I should see that program that I've just signed up for. So that's the program I've signed up for. I'm just going to scroll down just to show all the other programs that I have on here. So this is all my past registrations. I can see what the cost was. I can see the receipt. So if we click through here, this is what our receipt looks like. So you'll always have the organization logo. You'll have our logo here. And like I mentioned, so we have both Jim and Julie on this receipt, but it's very clear that Jim was signed up for this program. This is the fee that was paid. This is who the program was ran by, the unit fee or the cost. Same thing with Julie. So this is what Julie was signed up for, and then you have your total at the very bottom. So it's very clear as to who's signing up and what they're signing up for. Alrighty, so we'll get out of the receipt here. You may also notice that I have the ability to request a refund. So of course, depending on policies, this is just a request. So if I clicked on that, I can give a reason as to why I'm requesting the refund. As the admin on the admin side, you will get a notification that somebody's requested a refund. It doesn't mean that it goes through automatically. It's up to you and your policies on how you want to handle that. You have the ability to do a full refund and withdraw someone from a program. You have the ability to do a partial refund. You have the ability to just do a refund and not withdraw someone. So let's say, if your policy allows for it, somebody was sick for a couple of days, we're going to refund them for the time that they weren't there, but they're going to continue on and not be withdrawn. So you do have the ability to kind of choose how that is processed on the admin end. Looking at our menu here, you also have My Calendar. So My Calendar gives me a calendar view of everything that I sign up for. So I do believe that I have a couple of things at the very end of the month here, and beginning of April. So I can see what I have coming up, what I have going on. And of course, if let's say, today I had my 9 a.m. cooking class, or sorry, today's the 28th right here. On the 31st, I have my 9 a.m. cooking class and I want to just be ready and be sure where I'm going, what's happening. I can click on it. I can see the detailed view. So if I click on more information, I'll be taken to the detailed view of that program. And I can, of course, get the directions straight away and know exactly where I need to be on the 31st. If I scroll up here, I'll also see the filters again. So the filters are available if you need to search for something specific. You do have the ability to export the calendar as well if you want to, but otherwise it's always available for you here in My Calendars, and it will always be up to date with what you've signed up for and what you have coming up. Um, we've mentioned a little bit about credit cards and pre-saving credit cards, so you do have the ability to do that. Um, in terms of payment and how customers pay, we are processing payments through credit card or debit credit card only. On the admin side, we know that some circumstances may not allow for that. So on the admin side, you do have the ability to help someone enroll and pay with cash or check or credit card. But of course, when we're in a customer account and the customer is signing up, the only options are a credit card or a debit credit card. I'm just going to walk through, hopefully I can find one that has a little bit more information for us. So you see that I'm adding a code into this, and I don't have the correct one. So you do have the ability to add a code. So if you ever want to make a program private or a little bit more private, you have the ability to add a code. You can share that code with your customers, and then they can enter that code and go and sign up and register for the program. You don't necessarily need to hide it. You do have the ability to make things private completely where they're not searchable and sending a private link to, let's say, a select group of people. But this just allows it to be searched. It's a great way for, if you have an intake process, for example, to ensure that only those who have completed the intake for that specific program are able to go in and register. You do have the ability to customize the registration a little bit more than just having there we go, than just having the fee and who's signing up. So you'll see here I have a couple more steps. So I'm going to select my participant and I can hit next. You have the ability to ask custom questions. So questions can be either a free form where I can just type in the answer. They can be multiple choice where I'm selecting a single choice, or multiple choice where I'm selecting multiple choices. The only caveat to that is that we can't ask any medical information. So right now we're not able to store any medical information within MyCommunityHub. So questions are more so, have you completed intake? Do you do have the ability to ask specifically if somebody wants to bring a support worker, and that's a whole function in and of itself. It would show up in the question section, and they can let you know if they're bringing a support worker and the support worker information as well. The support worker does not count as a spot taken. It's just the person that's registering, but you can know that they are bringing someone with them. So it's more so, did we complete intake? If we're serving lunch, do you want to eat pizza or do you want to have, a hamburger? Things like that. So it's a great way to just kind of get a bit more information on who's signing up. I know that one great way that it's been used by one of our organizations is, they do kind of like a weekly calendar, and they have about 5 different options for each program that's being registered. And they put the 5 options up and said, what is the one you would most like? You can select the one you most like, and then on the back end, they know, okay, if this person, if this option is filled up, this person's second option was this, so they'll still, be able to do the second option, and hopefully, we have everybody where they want to be. So you can kind of customize it to anything you want it to be there. So you'll see that I'm going to select no here. I have the ability to make questions mandatory, or answers mandatory, I should say. So I have to answer the question, and I have the ability to say that an answer is wrong. So for example, I've said, no, I haven't completed your intake process. You'll see that I have a custom line underneath saying an intake process is necessary. Please contact us for more information at this email. So I can contact you and say, hey, I really want to sign up for this. Can I do the intake? And we can kind of start that conversation and go from there. Obviously, if I hit yes, I would be able to move forward. The fee breakdown we've kind of talked about. So you'll always see the fee breakdown. You do have the ability to add things like payment plans if you wish. And of course, as I mentioned, you have the ability to add coupons as well, which are on the checkout screen. And then last but not least, another optional feature that we have are waivers. So waivers are great for, if we're taking photos, photo release forms, anything like that. But they're also a great way to do your intake. So we do have a lot of providers who might post their intake form either as a PDF, so as a downloadable PDF that somebody can fill out and bring to you, or as a link that links out to, let's say, a Google form or to your website where they can go in and enter the information there. That's a great way to get around the medical questions. So because you're linking out to, let's say, a Google form, you can ask the medical questions because it's not being stored with us. So it's a great way to, again, get more information on, who's signing up. I can either accept or defer. So either of those will let me kind of move forward. If I decline, then of course I'm saying no, I'm not signing off on the waiver. So that means that I would not be able to register. If I do defer, you on the admin end can see who's deferred. So you can always give a nudge before program starts. Please make sure that you filled out the form or that you've signed off on the waiver. And again, we've gone through the checkout process, so I'll just go and check out. Note that if I add to cart and continue shopping, it will be added to my cart. It will stay there for an hour, but it does not mean that I've taken that spot. So until I actually pay, that spot is not mine. So we do have a little pop-up that says, spots fill up quickly. Make sure that you go in and register, just so that we don't have that disappointment of, somebody thinking it's in their cart and they've secured that spot. So that's everything I'm going to walk through on the customer end of things. As I said, I'll really quickly switch over to the admin side just so we can see what that looks like as well. So I'm going to sign out here and just sign into my admin account. As an admin, so it didn't happen right now because I've already logged in. As an admin, we do have multi-factor authentication. So it's on a daily basis. So what happens is the first time you log in today, you'll get an authentication code that you'll have to enter. Once you enter that, you're good for the day. So you can sign in and out for that day without having to authenticate every time. But let's say tomorrow morning when you log back in, you'll have to authenticate again. Just because we know, I mean, for me, I'm in and out every like 15, 20 minutes. It would get pretty annoying to have to authenticate every time. So I've logged into my admin account. You'll see that on the admin side, it looks a little bit different. We have four main sections or pillars of the site. Front desk is where you'll always end up, and you should always see your logo here. Front desk is anything to do with kind of helping a customer with their registrations. So I can help a customer enroll, as I mentioned. I can modify an enrollment. I can transfer from one program to another. If I have, any refunds, pardon me, I can see the refund requests here. So when customers request a refund, they would go into here, or I can initiate a refund myself. Keep in mind that if you are doing refunds, if I go in, for example, and I'm working on a refund and Jason logs in at the same time, Jason is not able to go into that specific refund and do the refund. So there's no way of doubling a refund or anything like that. Once an admin is in it, it's locked for a half an hour. And that once it's processed, it kind of disappears and goes into a different section, letting you know that it's been completed. So there's no way that somebody can go in and do something twice. So front desk, anything that we're doing to help a customer. Customers, on the customer section, I can actually go in and find a customer. So let's say I need to look up a customer's information, or I'm just trying to see, they've asked, did I register for this and this program? I can go in and check on that. So you'll see that I have my customers and then I have other customers. My customers is a list of customers or all the customers that have signed up for programs with me. So obviously we have a relationship and I can view their data and we have that understanding. Other customers are customers that are not part of anything that I have on MyCommunityHub, so I'm not able to see their data. Now, let's say you have somebody who has never signed up and they come to you and say, hey, I really want to sign up for a program of yours. What you're able to do is still look up the customer. You won't see any of their personal information. They can give you either their phone number or their email, and you can unlock their account. So just knowing that you have their phone number or email, they've given you permission to go in and view their details. You can then register them from here, and they can be part of your customer list. So once somebody registers for something with you, they automatically become part of your customers. So if I wanted to look up a customer, so we've been working with Jane. So if I look up Jane here, oh my goodness, pardon me. Where's Jane? All right, there we go. So if I look up Jade here, I'll be able to view and edit their information, and I can register Jane straight from here. So if I hit register, I can go in and select the program and register her from here. I'm still going through the exact same registration process as the customer would on the customer end. I'm just doing it through this side. I can view and edit, meaning that I can view all the information for Jane. It's the same information we walk through on the customer side, just laid out a little bit differently, but you have the ability to see everything except for their credit card. The credit card stays saved on the customer end for security reasons, obviously. If a customer needed your assistance and wanted to use a credit card to pay, they would have to share that information with you. Okay. Um, I'll walk over to our report section. So reports is pretty self-explanatory. This is where you can go to pull or schedule any of the reports that we have available. The sort of most used or most popular, I will say, are our registration attendance sheet. That just gives us, a list of who's the registrants and their attendance. Roster expanded gives us a bit more information. So I can pull a list of everybody that's registered or that's on the wait list, but I can add other information, for example, their email address, what questions did they answer, did they agree to our waivers, et cetera. So it just gives you a bit more information. And then from a financial perspective, our service payment report just gives you a full breakdown of every single transaction that happens on My Community Hub, and you can pull that whenever you need. I'll go into the roster expanded really quickly. So I'll go in and select schedule. So we do have the ability to generate a report, which will generate for you right away within a couple minutes, depending on how much data obviously you're trying to get. And then scheduling a report. So to schedule a report, I can go in, I'll select my parameters here. So this is all the things that I can have within this report. Our transaction dates are mandatory. So let's say March, I just want to see what's happened in the last couple of weeks of March. Transaction dates are when were we transacting? So when were customers actually registering for our programs? And then of course, the type of transaction. Do I just want my roster? So who's actually registered? Do I just want who's on the wait list, or do I want both? So I'll select all. And then of course, I can select any of the other parameters here if I want them included. You do have other optional fields like date of birth, email, address, etc. So you're able to add all of those fields in. Next, I will schedule my report. So I'll give it a name, I'll give it a start date. So let's say as of today, and I want it to end next Friday. And I want it Monday and Tuesday. And I can add a specific time. So I can say at 9 a.m., for example. And this I can say at 2 p.m., for example, and I can add multiple times in a day. So if I wanted to run every hour of the day, I can, but I can add a time in and select that time. I'll email to, so who do I want it emailed to? Any admins that are on my account, I can select them, or I can select other and put in an email address of someone who is not part of the MyCommunityHub admin side. So if they don't want to create an account, but they still need that information, they can get that emailed straight to them. And it gets emailed. You don't have to log in to view the report. So let's say it's finance, and they don't want to bother with pulling a report every time. We can schedule a report, send it straight to them, and they can view that report that way. And of course, I can add anything in the email, the subject line, etc. Sorry, and I will hit schedule, and that's going to render for the specific dates and times that I've selected. Okay. So that's our reports. Last but not least is our admin stress section. And this is where you're going in and actually creating everything. So this is where you'll probably spend a lot of your time, at least in the beginning. But this is where you can go in to actually create a program. I'll go into setup, modify service, which is where we're going to set things up. Just to show us here, so we have our list view on our end as well. looks very similar to the list view that the customer sees. You just see some information that's a little bit different. One of the greatest features that I really love is that you can see kind of who's enrolled, who's on the wait list, wish list. You can get those numbers without having to pull a report. But it's just there. And then if you want to, you can go into the view and edit mode, and you can see the participants. So you can actually see who's signed up, who's on the wait list, who's on the wish list, again, without pulling a report. You can view and edit all of your programs as much as you want. Obviously, if it's already gone online, people have seen it and are registering for it, we don't suggest making any major changes. But until you're ready to go, you can make as many changes as you'd like. Back to here, I do have the ability to clone services. So if there's a program that happens that repeats quite a bit, I can always clone it and just adjust small information that I need to without having to go in and actually create everything from scratch. I do have the ability to clone programs in bulk. So if I have, let's say, 10 programs that I need to kind of recreate every month or whatever the case may be, I do have the ability to clone those as well, and then go in and just, let's say, adjust dates if that's the case. I'll go into creating a program just very quickly, just so that we can see what that looks like. This is kind of the whole section here. It looks very robust and very big. I promise you it's not. It shouldn't take more than about 10 to 15 minutes to get through at the very beginning. Once you kind of get used to it, it only takes a few minutes at a time. But you have all the information here. The reason it looks so big is because every section is kind of on its own, just so we know that that's what we're focusing on. So in the date section, I'm focusing on when is my program happening, when is my registration happening. If I'm doing custom questions, that's what I'm focusing on there. Steps 1, 2, 3, and 4 are mandatory information. So that's your basic information, the date, location, and the cost. And then 5, 6, 7, 8 are all your kind of nice to have. So if you want to gather that data through the registration process and add custom questions or waivers or attachments or anything like that, you can do it through here. Okay. Another really cool feature that we have is if I go back, okay, I just got signed out, pardon me. Okay, let's go back in here. I think I clicked something accidentally there. Alrighty, so if I go back to our list view of our services here, what I also can do, which is a really cool feature that I also really, really like, is the you may like services. So I can select services and assign them here, for example. So I'll assign those 3 and we'll update that. And if we go back to our service list, and I'm going to view this as a customer. So of course I can view things the way the customer would see them before I go live or before I post anything. But if I go down here now, you'll see you may also like services. So at the bottom of the service that I'm viewing, I can add other services that we have available. So customers can kind of just be aware of the other things you have going on as well. I'm going to end things here. I don't know that there's really anything else to say except for, yes, there is, except for our knowledge base. So we do have a support team that's available during the week. It's available to the customers as well as to the admin staff as well. We obviously do a full training when somebody does onboard, but there's always going to be things that come up. There's always going to be questions. So our support staff is always available for you during the week, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Our knowledge base also gives you a great way to learn. So if you want to learn something that maybe I didn't cover here, or you're just not sure, you kind of need the refresher. If you go into our knowledge base, and for example, if we go into registration setup and how to create a service, you have all your step-by-step instructions on how to do, let's say, creating a service or whatever the function may be. So you do have that available as well. But like I mentioned, our team is also available to answer any questions and help with anything that you may need. So I'm going to stop it here for now. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I guess, Jason, I'll hand it back to you.
Does anybody have any questions? My mind is full of
It's a lot, I
information.
know.
It was a very quick run through, and my goodness, my community hub is it's got a lot more features than I had remembered. It's very robust now. The back end looks really good, really good.
Thank you. Any questions?
So feel free to unmute yourself or type it in the chat.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, thanks for that. It's really, really helpful I knew about my community hub, but I'd never really explored it. What is the admin fee?
Do you mean the cost of using My Community Hub?
Yeah.
Okay. So there really is no cost, for example, like a membership or a fee that you pay. Currently, the system is free. There is a cost associated for your payments, so for your registration fees. If you want, I can walk through that. Yes?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, just quickly how it works. So someone comes
so
on, they pick my service. How does the money get to us, kind of?
Okay. So when you register with us, you're going to register with us, and then we're also going to create what we call a merchant ID, and that's through our payment processor. So you would essentially sign up with our payment processor as well. That merchant ID is yours, it's unique, and it's only for you. So as I mentioned, when I was going through the customer end of things, each organization is essentially its own store, its own merchant. So that ID will be linked to your finance account. So that's the account everything's going to go in and out of. So it's directly linked there. When somebody goes and registers for a program, they'll obviously pay the fee, and on a daily basis that gets put into your account. At the end of each month is where the fees are charged. And the fees are a 2.2% fee for your transactions, so your payment processing, a 2.8% fee for the technologies fee. So that's kind of our fee for kind of, as Shawn likes to say, keeping the lights on. And then you have a 20-cent fee for each credit card transaction. So those are the only fees that are associated. So at the end of the month, that would be kind of taken out and charged from your account.
Okay,
Shawn, anything to add there?
I think you've covered it. So I
Okay.
think the confusion always is when we say it's 5%. That's why Jelka broke it down. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I can get a better rate with my credit card company or something like that. It's not 5% in that sense. So the merchant that we are connected with is somebody who transacts with nonprofits. So that's why it's 2.2% across. Without getting into the nitty gritty of like, different cards have different percentages. It's a flat 2.2. The 2.8 is the technology fee, right? So regardless, so the 2.8 or the 5 only gets charged at a transactional purchase. So if let's say you were advertising also free programs in it and people are registering, there's no cost associated to that because it's free and there's no transaction. So the value is that you can do both fee and free here, and that there's no charge against the free. It's only at the fee level in it, and it's at the total cost level. It's not in any other way. For DS service providers in our current state, we're able to reimburse some of the transactional charges. So if you want more details, during our demo onboarding conversation, we can have further details on it. But essentially, right now, as it stands, there is no actual subscription, $12,000 a year that you're going to get charged. It is at the level of transaction, so it's a little bit more easier to work with as a startup if you're looking at that.
So just a follow-up question to that. As you're allowing free programs, if I was an agency and just onboarded 6 free programs, none of them fee for service, would I still be able to have all the power of my community hub for free?
As long as you're a DS service provider, and I think the group in this situation that's here you're like, we have service providers in My Community Hub. Majority of their programs are free, right? But it's not really about where do we make the money to keep the lights on scenario. It's also about the families that we support. So we are ministry funded. So a lot of our, like, it's not about the cost of like what are we getting out of this. It's really about families being able to register for programs and services in their community in one place. So that, like, we do have providers that are majority of their programs are free, and that's not a problem at all.
That's great.
Yeah.
Shemi?
Yes.
Yeah, so sorry again, just like clarifying the same topic. If a family, technically like a family signs up for My Community Hub, they're not paying anything yet. They have the ability to just look through all of the options and programs there are. And if they want, they can just to like even understand if there's a waiting list and anything like that and know what's happening. And then they could technically call a program and sign up for themselves. Right? Or like, are all the programs that you have on My Community Hub, do families need to sign up through My Community Hub? Sorry, I don't know. I'm
Sure.
realizing now when I say it doesn't make
That's
sense.
okay. I can interpret what you're saying.
Yeah.
So the intent behind My Community Hub is in 2015, I would say 90% of the registrations would be, hey, Jason, can you sign me up for this program? I saw it on My Community Hub, because that's where agencies were always used to, like kind of that hand holding families through that journey. 2025, I was going to say 2022, but 2025, I would say over 95% of people who register go online and register. So the administrative burden on your end is far reduced. And then, at the program level, you're going to have contact info. If somebody needs more information or they want you to register for them, they may call you and help you. But you as the provider have the opportunity to say, no, our process, which is a lot of agencies have done, our process is for you to register online, and then make the exception for those who you do want to help or support, be that front desk option that Jelka kind of produced in that scenario. So the ability, it's really about for families to have control. It's not a 9 to 5 because they're not they're working 9 to 5. It's being able to have this available 24/7 and being able to register for programs and services without the support of an agency or a staff member.
Okay, and then it's up to the agency to kind of let families know if they do call into the agency to let families know, well, this is our process versus like if they need more
Yeah.
hand holding and that case by case.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, we came a long way because getting agencies to that thought of like, oh no, we need to support them, became less of a need, because all the information they need is there. And it's that sort of like support and triage in that. So like you can say, even in the description, please only register online. We won't be able, like, you can do all sorts of things to help.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are more hands off now. Like we don't even have supplement videos on how to register for a program for families, because it is easy. All they need to do is add to cart and it'll walk them through the steps. So we've never really had any families saying, like, this is hard for me. So, again, we work from from children's programs all the way to senior programs. So the diversity of the families who are looking to purchase something can sometimes be technologically be a barrier. But in most cases, most people now have purchased something online, and our experience from a customer side is just basically creating an account as you normally do with some basic information, and just adding to cart the programs and services. And then, like what Jelka was saying, if somebody is stuck on how to register for something or whatever else, they also have support available through My Community Hub. So not necessarily that you have to be involved in this process. We can technically show them how to do something. And if it comes to like a program request or program information, we would then email forward it to you, because obviously you're the professionals that know your programs. We would forward it to you at that level and not inundate you with like, how do I register on My Community Hub as a technical resource? And Rena is coming on board. I think I saw your name as
Yes.
Rena. So Rena is down in the pipeline of coming on board also.
Oh, okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, we have one. Sorry, we couldn't figure out how to raise our hand.
That's okay.
Yeah, other than doing this, exactly. So Jelka, you mentioned on one of your slides, it had for people when they want to pay, that they could use a credit card, or so there was something that said a balance. Like, so
yes.
I'm just asking because we're a Community Living Mississauga, we're a transfer payment agency for families. So we administer people's special services at home and respite funding and their passport funding. So if they wanted to register for a program and not use their credit card, that balance, does that give us an option somehow to help them to use their funding directly rather than to pay out of pocket and then be reimbursed?
So a little bit. That's a feature that we're kind of working on right now. So hopefully by the end of April, it will be ready. But you do have the ability, right now you have the ability to refund to account. So instead of refunding the customer to their credit card or whatever the case may be, you can do a refund to their account. And then the customer can use those funds for future programming. So they can use those funds to pay for a program for you. And again, because everything is so separate, those funds are only going back towards your program. So I can't go and sign up for something, with a different provider. We are
So-
working. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask, so what fees are involved for that? This may be more of a Shawn question, but
There are no fees involved in that because the
Okay.
funds are not going back through the payment processor. So there's no fee involved in doing a refund to account and then them using the funds to pay for something for future. So we are working on an enhancement a little bit where it will go back. So right now, if you do a refund to account, it goes to the primary account holder, which is why we still don't kind of push it too much, because we know that if it's a group account, then the primary account holder has to kind of keep track of who's got what funds. So the enhancement will be that it goes straight back to the actual person who registered, and they can use those funds for future programs. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said that feature would be ready around the end of April,
Yeah, end of April it should be launched. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Thanks.
What I'll say is that everybody I think on this call is a TPA in some capacity or not, and they do administer passport funds, but there's also the other element of community and a lot of people accessing it. So in most cases, even internal line transfer, I think some people may know that term essentially, which it means you're managing your own passport funds, and it's just you just want people to register on MyCommunityHub and you'll do the finances in the background. So we have this feature where a lot of agencies will use a coupon code, right? So essentially it captures the information of who's registering and how much that cost is, but at the end of checkout, they can put a discount code and they zero out on it. So it captures all the data you need. And then, from your administration passport funds being a TPA, you can sort that out in your backend processes. But for everybody else who's looking to register, they still are required. So you don't have to do a two-step process in that scenario. Those who have TPA passport, here's your code, go enter it, zero out. Everybody else pays, and it's just one space, and you're not having to manage it in like two different sections. So that's the advantage of how we do it. What you're thinking about is a little bit further, where somebody has $10,000 in passport funding, you have all, Community Living Mississauga programs, and they're drawing down from it. And that's the function that Jelka is talking about, is you can put a credit on somebody's account, but they can only use it towards Community Living Mississauga services. They can't use it towards other pieces because it's gated to you to that agency. So that's kind of the advancement. So when you think about like individualized support models and how that's kind of being done in the sector, that's where we're moving towards, is having dollars allocated towards somebody where they can only purchase services in that agency. And so MyCommunityHub is, and that agency is part of MyCommunityHub, and they're drawing down from those funds. And that's our next step this year to getting there.
Right.
Yeah. Great. Anything else? Nope.
Okay, great. Okay,
Well,
Jelka, do you
I
want to
got
show them
some-
the demo page quickly here on if anyone is interested, where to go and kind of
Yes,
reach out
thank
to us
you.
for demo?
Yes, thank you for the reminder. So if you go to mycommunityhub.ca and you go to become a service provider, you can just fill out this, you can watch our video, of course. You can fill out just this information here, and it'll go straight to our support team, and somebody will reach out and schedule a meeting where we'll kind of, if you do put in the notes that we met here, it just helps us so that we know we don't have to do like a full demo, but we usually do a demo, walk through kind of what it is you're thinking of doing on MyCommunityHub, so that we can kind of see how we can make it work for you. And then of course, we'll talk about next steps and onboarding if you're interested.